in the US, it's compliance is getting to a point where if you make big, bold claims, it's harder to get it to work on paid traffic and other areas. And we've cracked the code because we've had a VSL do really well without direct claims. There's a lot of ways to play the game with little advantages or even big advantages that people don't see.
Ning Li, copywriter há quase uma década.
Ele já escreveu para gigantes como Agora, foi copy coach do Copy Accelerator e treinou centenas de copywriters.
Hoje é Copy Chief na Paleohacks,
uma empresa multimilionária no nicho de saúde.
Let's say that you are hired to create a promotion, like a VSL that will scale on cold traffic. The first thing that you do is probably research, right?
Yeah. So, I tell people that there's a triangle, right? There's three things I need to research before I start writing. Number one is I've retired from coaching. Because I'm making too much money from just writing copy. AI has really changed the game. The people that make the most money have to write better than ChatGPT. They have to write copy that converts better. In order to learn how to do that, you can't rely on ChatGPT because ChatGPT will only spit out copy that's at the level of the person using ChatGPT. In the US, the paid media costs are very high. In the Paleohacks network, our sequence of events our process that we go through is we launch a VSL on email traffic, so on our internal email traffic. If it's doing really well there, then we escalate it to paid. That's my process.
Fala pessoal, sejam bem-vindos aqui a mais um episódio do podcast Segredos da Escala, que é o podcast do VTurb. Se vocês não conhecem aqui, o VTurb é uma hospedagem de vídeo 100% focado em vídeo de vendas. Hoje em dia, os maiores players do Brasil usam o VTurb nos seus vídeos de vendas, como por exemplo o G4 Educação, o Novo Mercado, a Escola do Perpétuo lá do Misha, e também fora do Brasil, tá? Como por exemplo a Mind Valley, que é a maior infoprodutora do mundo. Eles faturam mais de 1,5 bilhões, tá? De reais por ano. Então, se eles confiam no VTurb, cara, eu acho que tu deveria confiar também e fazer um teste aí do VTurb na tua operação, tá? No teu vídeo de vendas. E é por isso que eu deixei um link onde tu vai ter 15% de desconto durante 2 meses. Aqui nos comentários, é só clicar ali, tá? Criar tua conta no VTurb, que já vai ser aplicado automaticamente esse desconto aí na tua conta. Isso é um incentivo aí para tu conseguir testar o VTurb, aplicar no teu negócio e aumentar as vendas do teu vídeo de vendas também, assim como os maiores players do mercado brasileiro estão fazendo, beleza? E além disso, tá? Quando tu criar tua conta, eu também vou te dar um treinamento chamado Otimizando o seu vídeo de vendas, para que tu consiga aplicar o teu vídeo de vendas aí e fazer ele vender muito mais do que ele vende hoje com as aulas que a gente tem ali. Mas além de te ajudar a aumentar a tua conversão com o VTurb, a gente também tem o podcast Segredos da Escala, onde eu te ajudo a aumentar a tua conversão de outras maneiras, trazendo conteúdo aqui de convidados extremamente qualificados, para que tu consiga pegar 1, 2, às vezes 3 dicas aí se o podcast for bom, aplicar no teu negócio e escalar ele também. Então, cara, vê o podcast aí, espero que tu goste e valeu. So, Ning, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you. So, first of all, for the few people that don't know you yet, could you please let the audience know like what you do, what you have done, and a little bit about yourself?
Yes. So I have been in copywriting and direct response marketing for about 9 years, I think. I have sold, I don't know, I have not kept track, but it is well into the tens of millions of dollars in products online. I've written VSLs for Agora, New Market Health, Organifi. I worked for Copy Accelerator as their first one-on-one copy coach. Justin and Stefan hired me to be their copy coach during 2022, I think, 2021, 2022. And these days, I have also coached a lot of copywriters. I believe I've coached more copywriters one-on-one, face-to-face than anyone else on the planet. Over 400, 500 writers. I coached people for about 6 to 7 years. So I've seen every problem that copywriters have at all the different levels. And these days, I have stopped copy coaching and I'm only writing copy. I'm the senior copywriter and copy chief at Paleohacks, which is an 8-figure health brand. We have 4 or 5 different brands underneath us. We sell supplements, cookbooks. We have a brand that does consumables like avocado oil, salt. That company is based in Mexico. I write or oversee the copy for all these different brands, and we operate in probably what I would call the biggest email network in health, which is the Mike Geary email affiliate network. That's where we test all our VSLs, and yeah, that's what I do.
Got it. So the first question that I have is something that you just mentioned right now. Do you think it's like valid to test a VSL in an email list? Because when you are going to actually run it, you're going to run to cold traffic, and we know that has direct marketers that like 40% of the campaign success is actually the list that you're going to advertise to.
Mhm.
So why do you do this? Because to me, here in Brazil at least, I think we don't do that because, but of course we are behind the United States.
Mhm.
But that's something that I always wanted to know. Like, why do you test it on email lists? And then
Yeah.
because it's
Well,
not. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah. My best guess is that in Brazil and in other, like in Europe, the paid media is less competitive, so you can get better prices on ads. So it's easier to make things convert on paid traffic if your costs are low. In the US, the paid media costs are very high. So because
Yeah.
there's a lot of competition in the advertising space. So in the Paleohacks network, our sequence of events our process that we go through is we launch a VSL on email traffic. So on our internal email traffic, we have um, I don't know if my CEO wants me to reveal how big our email list is, but it's quite big. And we get good numbers, and so we launch the VSL on email. We do some email sends based off the email numbers. We can tell how good it is, right?
Mm,
Usually, what we've seen is the email numbers will translate over to paid. So
got
a
it.
VSL that puts up really good numbers in email will also do really well on paid.
Got it. Got it.
So if we have really good numbers, usually we launch with 8 leads, and then three or two or three of the leads would do poorly, two or three of the leads would do average, and then one or two would really be like really good numbers. So then we would take that one or two leads that is doing really well, and we do creative testing on it. So we test different email angles and hooks. Then when we get that optimized, that goes out to the Mike Geary email network. So iRaleigh Marketing they have 40 different email lists all in the health sphere. So if we tested it and it puts up good numbers internally, it goes out to iRaleigh. They start testing it on their lists. If it puts up good numbers on their lists, they put it on all the lists. So they command a lot of traffic over there. And then if they do that, then we get a ton of email traffic. Okay.
Got it.
So we can tell based on how it's doing to the iRaleigh lists compared to all the other VSLs in the email affiliate network. If it's doing really well there, then we escalate it to paid.
Got it. Got it. So
Then if the sequence of events is internal email affiliate, then paid.
got it. Oh, makes sense. That's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
Thanks for
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So you said that you are one of the like most experienced copy coaches in the world. You have coached like hundreds of people. And what do you think is like the beginning of a copywriter if they want to actually become a good copywriter? Because for example, I've been doing copywriting for around 10 years now. And when I started by reading all the copywriting books, the classics.
Yeah.
For example, Gene Schwartz, John Caples, Gary Halbert, these guys. But right now in
Yeah.
2024 or 2025, I don't know when you're watching this,
Mhm.
but we have like these modern courses that people actually go straight into the subject matter. For example, the RMBC, if you want
Yeah.
to write health copy, or maybe other frameworks that are helpful for today's market.
Yeah.
How do you see this first step? Do you think that they should go to books or maybe courses or even something else?
That's a good question. I could rant on this for a long time. So when I started, I did the same thing that you did, which was I read books, Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz and Ultimate Sales Letter. I read all the books, right? And then there weren't any when I started, there weren't that many courses. Like I couldn't go on YouTube and find, here's how to write a long form sales letter, right?
Yeah.
So, when I was starting, I had to watch VSLs, pause them, write, transcribe them by hand,
Yeah.
unpause, and transcribe the entire VSL by hand. And then I had to go in and figure out the sequence and the logic sequence. And I did that. That's how I learned. And, when I was learning, my mentor, Dan Ferrari, he told me to go to swipe.co, which is a website that holds all the old newspaper copy. So
That's
print
awesome.
ads. Yeah. So he told me to go there and find everything by Schwartz, Bensavenga, and Halbert, print those out, and then hand copy them. So I did that. When I was starting out, I did that like 3 hours a day, and then I would write. And I've still have my old notebooks of that. So I did that a lot. And then I wrote long form I had a YouTube channel back then with a business that I wrote copy for my own business. And so that's kind of how I got started. Nowadays, I think it's a lot harder. I think it's a lot harder for copywriters to get started because back then, you could get started and you could get paid to grow and learn. Nowadays, you're competing with AI, so AI, I think, uh, robs beginning copywriters of it makes it very easy to just not write and use AI. And
Yeah.
so there's a different skill set there that like a copywriter starting now, there's no way they have written as many words as I have, right?
Yeah.
I've written over 500,000 words in my career, right? And I believe that like a copywriter's skill will scale with how many words you've written, right? It's kind of like basketball, right? Like Stephen Curry, there's no way you've taken as many shots as Steph Curry,
Yeah. Yeah. Of
right?
course. Yeah.
So that's one of the things is I believe in pretty much any skill. It's like repetition, pattern recognition, feedback, and then improvement on whatever the action is, right? So there's no way someone who's going to use AI in their beginning of the career is going to write as much as someone who doesn't use AI,
Yeah.
and you're not going to learn how to write. That's the one skill you need to learn is how to write. Um, the most the people right now in copywriting, AI has really changed the game. The people that make the most money have to write better than ChatGPT. They have to write copy that converts better. Um, so in order to learn how to do that, you can't rely on ChatGPT because ChatGPT will only spit out copy that's at the level of the person using ChatGPT. So how do you get better is like this is just my belief, but you have to write. You have to write a
Yeah.
lot,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah.
Makes sense, of course. Do you think though that I mean that's of course like the ideal thing. Like if you start to hand copy stuff and you just write stuff, you of course learn things. But I don't know for you, but I mean I'm not the best copywriter. I sold around 50 million in these 10 years, but
It
for
sounds like you're pretty good.
yeah, here in Brazil I am, but like not Stefan Georgia $1 billion copywriter that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, but one thing that I found very helpful is to just focus on the ideas, like the psychology of what you're talking to what you're presenting to the audience. For example, how to get attention, what mechanism are you going to use to
Yeah.
make people believe in your offer. And then once I have these very good ideas, these solid ideas, then what I try to do is to try to find the way to communicate these ideas, the actual writing, in other copies. For example, the swipefile.com that you said, there was a headline in one of these swipe files that was like this: Atlanta housewife investigated and almost arrested for losing 63 pounds. Then I found this headline very interesting.
Mhm.
Like, what the fuck? This woman got arrested for losing weight. Like, why does this happen? And then I just swiped this headline, this structure, and then I added my ideas. For example, this guy was arrested for doing X. That way, I think that I can cheat in the writing because the copy was already written by someone in the past, someone that writes way better than me. Then all that I have to do is just put my ideas in this like old copy. Then I can grab lots of copy from everywhere that has some good writing, put it in a sales letter, and then the work will not be to actually write copy, but just to edit the copy to make it like congruent with everything, to make it like, to make it good copy.
Yeah, I like that. I have a similar process where, say I'm writing blood sugar VSL, right?
Yeah.
Let's just pick just a very basic one. So if I'm writing a blood sugar VSL, my process is that I go through, we have years and years of email data. So we have data on what emails convert the best, what email hooks have put up the most clicks. And so the first step I do is I go through what are the top performing blood sugar VSLs on the Mike Geary email network. What are the email creatives? Which email creatives are clicking the best? So I have access to that data, which is very, very valuable data, right?
Yeah.
So then once I see that, then I know like, okay, this is what the audience responds to. Why is this one converting the best? Why is this one clicking the highest? Then I have a better and better idea of what the audience cares about. And then one other thing you can do here is, hooks are really important, right? Like ideas, like you just said, the 68-year-old woman arrested for losing 68 pounds or whatever it is. Those hooks are really important, right?
Yeah.
That's what's carry the front of the VSL. Like the first minute or so is like how great your hook is. So, how do I go about figuring out what hook to use is, I don't need to. I can look at, there's mountains and mountains of data out there that tell you which hooks perform the best. For example, you can go on YouTube, right? Just do a basic search on YouTube for diabetes or blood sugar, and then look at the number of views and the thumbnails and the titles of the best performing videos.
Yeah.
Right? Then watch them, right? Then you're going to see, why is this video performing better than this video? Why did this video get this many views? A lot of the YouTube algorithm is watch time. So, but the ideas and the thumbnails and the clicks, that is all work that other people have done that I can learn from, right? That tell me what the audience cares about.
Yeah.
Right. TikTok is another thing I use. TikTok is great for hooks because it's all just hooks. It's all visual and video hooks.
Yeah.
Right. So if something goes viral there, then I know people are watching it. And then I learn a lot about my audience. So a lot of what copywriting is, yes, there's the writing aspect, but it's the hook farming is what I might call it. It's collecting these ideas that are, if you get the right idea, it's it's worth millions and millions of dollars. One sentence, the right sentence is worth millions and millions of dollars. So, that's why that's part of my process is I have my own gold mine of copy hooks for health and for, whatever other niches, if I'm writing for those niches. But if I see something in my feed or I have a good idea come to me, I'm storing it in that gold mine and then I'm deploying it in whatever the next project is. Yeah.
I want to get in to your copywriting process, how you write VSLs, but before that, just to comment on what you just said, one thing that I think the audience may find valuable too is to look all these things that you said, like YouTube, TikTok, but you can also buy some sort of spy tool. For example, AdSpy. There's one that I'm using right now, DeepTub. I know it looks like a porn site, but it's not. It's actually a spy tool. They chose the worst name ever, like DeepTub. What the fuck? They chose that. Yeah, but it's pretty cool because then you can actually find the ads that are scaling, and then if you see that there's some ad that is running for like months and has lots of views, then you know that specific angle is working.
Yes.
And to me, I think that's like the creme de la creme, the best of the best, because it's something that is working in paid traffic, which has like the biggest scale ever.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, that's something that I also do. So I don't know. I just
Yeah,
wanted to say that to the
so
audience.
I like that. We also use that. And the step beyond that, so that's the idea farming phase of it. And I based like the weight of how good those ideas are based on whatever performance metrics I have access to, right? So if you know an ad is scaling, then it's how do you know? Are you certain? And how do you know? Because it could be one ad that's scaling could be 100x of another ad, right? So
Yeah, yeah, that's
so
true.
how if you know how certain are you, right? If you,
Yeah,
what scale are you certain about, right? So once you figure that out, then my process is to how do I do that except double down on why it works. So if I find that hook, right? Why is that working? And how do I double down on that idea? How do I double down and do it a little bit different?
got it.
So that's kind of like my process.
But this is not the beginning of your process, right? Or is it?
Of the process of what? Of writing like a
Of writing,
VSL?
yeah, let's say that you are hired to create a promotion, like a VSL that will scale on cold traffic. And since we're talking about this, let's say it's for blood sugar. The first thing that you do is probably research, right?
Yeah. So, I tell people that there's a triangle, right? There's a there's three things I need to research before I start writing. Number one is the product, right? What
Yeah,
makes the product unique? What's in the product? How do I sell this product? Number two is the audience, right? So the person I'm talking to, I need to really fully understand that. If I don't fully understand the person, then I don't feel comfortable. Like I really, I like, so my best promotions are when I actually talk to someone who's experienced the problem. So for example, in the past year, the best, our best performing VSL was a thyroid supplement.
yeah,
And I couldn't find any thyroid VSLs that were really performing well. There was one by Dr. Pompa, but it wasn't for a thyroid supplement, it's for like a testing kit. So it was tough for me because I didn't have as much VSL data, and I didn't understand the audience well.
yeah,
It's a female problem. So I went to as many women as I could and asked if they knew anyone who had a thyroid problem. And when I found someone, I talked to them. I asked to either take them out to lunch or whatever. I just asked to talk to them for as long as I could. And so I did that. And then after I did that, I understood it a lot better. And then when I understand the person and what their experience is like, then I feel more comfortable sitting down to write.
yeah,
So it's product, audience, and then the market. So what other offers are there out there um, that promise to solve the same problem,
yeah,
right? And then how are they performing? What are the best ones? What are the worst ones? Why are these performing well? Why are those not performing well? Once I understand these three areas, so product, market, and audience, then I feel comfortable sitting down to start putting the promotion together.
got it. Just a quick question, but when you're hired, does it always have like a product already, or you're hired to actually create a product from scratch?
It depends. Sometimes it's we already have a product, we already have a VSL. Can you beat that VSL?
Got it.
And sometimes it's we're starting from scratch. Here's a product that doesn't have any promotional materials. Can you create a promotion for it? And sometimes it's a third category, which is we don't have a product. Can you come up with one for us? Those often tend to be the best when I have a hand in the offer creation process and I tell the R&D team, hey, can you create this for me?
Yeah,
Then I have a lot more power because I have power in positioning the offer. Like I have a lot more control over whether the promotion does well or not because I can guarantee that I'm selling something that people want.
yeah, that's true.
Sometimes business owners, they give you something, they don't know whether people want it or not, right? They just had this great idea. Let me create a
Yeah,
this, right?
let's sell
But if
wise to schemos.
Yes, but if I can come in and I say, I want to do this, can you guys create this? Then I can sell it like this. Then I have a lot more power. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the best approach in my opinion. Like business owners, they should like first see what sells, then create the product that will actually sell. What I used to do is to just call the industry and say, hey, I want, for example, a diet supplement because I think that the weight loss market is really good. What kind of supplements do you have? And then they would give me the list. I would see which one has the biggest proof elements just built in, because then I can actually prove the mechanism, and it will be way easier to convince people that the mechanism actually works because I have all this proof to use it. So that I think that's the best approach when we are creating a product.
Yeah,
But
at Paleohacks, we used to sell cookbooks. So, we've launched 17 or 18 different cookbook funnels. And when the cookbooks really started taking off was in my second or third year. My first few years at Paleohacks, I didn't write that many winning promotions. In fact, there was like only one in 4 or 5 would do well. But in the second or third year, we switched to me coming up with the idea of what cookbook to do, then asking the recipe creation team to create recipes according to what I wanted, right? So, the ideas I had all were around the ideas that clicked the best. Like, I wanted recipes that were under 15 minutes. Can you create recipes that take people 15 minutes or less in the kitchen to make, right? Or like, it only requires 5 to 10 minutes of kitchen time. Is that possible? Can you guys create that? Because that's what I want to say in the copy, right?
yeah,
Or can you create fat loss brownies? Can you create fat loss, insert junk food that people like, right?
yeah,
Those are the 2 categories. And I started directing the team on like, I want a book like this that's full of these types of recipes. Can you create that for me, right? Then we started putting out just one cookbook after the other, and they all just started doing well. So that was like a big change. Yeah.
But to do that, you actually need to first research the other 2 pillars, right? The audience and the market, because then you'll find out what can actually work. And when it comes to the audience, you said that you need to really understand people. What do you mean by that? To understand? Do you mean like maybe, I don't know, like filling a checklist, or what?
That's a good question.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's a good question. I need to understand what their experience is like with the problem that I'm promising to solve, right? So for that, for example, for the thyroid lady, I asked her, how long have you been experiencing low thyroid problems, right? When did it first start? What was that like? Were you just cold all the time, or, what were the symptoms? And then how did you try to solve that? Right? She first went to the doctor. What was that like? I want to just be able to just see the whole thing, So I think it's just about being a curious human being, right? And just trying to, like, I almost want to be able, for me to write a diary of someone experiencing a thyroid problem, right? How did you try to solve it? What worked? What didn't? And I just kind of let my curiosity take hold during that interview or that questioning session. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, of course. To be honest, there's more things that I would like to know because, for example, actually one tip that I wanted to give the audience is this thing that you just said, the diary. One thing that I do in my research process, I use the checklist by Gary Bencivenga. That he presented in his seminar, the 100 seminar. I think you're familiar with that.
Mm-hmm.
And it has lots of questions there. And one question that he says that it was really a game changing for me is that you should read books about the market. And it's crazy because if you go to Amazon and you just type there, for example, weight loss story, or I don't know, a wrinkles story, or blood sugar story, there will be actual diaries. Just
Yeah.
that what you said. The people will actually write all their experiences there, and they create like a fucking book that
Yeah.
you can actually look.
Yeah.
And
And
there's
they
a book.
they they say the same stuff over and over again, right? If you read enough Amazon comments or Reddit comments, you're going to see a pattern. You're going to see 80% of the people always say this.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
But for example, there was a book called Face It: What Women Really Feel as Their Look Changes. And that book was amazing because yeah, man,
That's interesting.
it's
That's
amazing.
cool.
It's amazing. I wrote my first, like, not my first, but one of my best-selling VSLs just because of that book, because it gave me like a really deep insight into the psychology of women that are getting old. What do they feel? How do they see that?
Yeah.
How they feel invisible, that no one's looking at them.
Yeah.
How they feel that their best times are behind right now, and now they have to face their wrinkles every day in the mirror, and they feel bad about it. They feel ugly. Their husband,
Yeah.
the husband doesn't look at her anymore.
Yeah.
The husband starts to look at younger girls and that kind of stuff. So
I
yeah,
talked
that's
to uh one of my past students taught like she had a moment like that. She had a moment where she was like, "Oh my God, I looked in the mirror this morning and I saw, my first wrinkle or something."
yeah,
And she was freaking out, and I was curious, so I just started asking her about it.
yeah,
And after asking her all this stuff, and it's like, God, that's the perfect buying moment, like right after a woman sees her first wrinkle. It's
yeah,
like that's when they're in buying heat, right? So I almost want to like position the promotion for that moment.
yeah.
That's probably the peak of the emotion where they're in buying heat, and then, of course they're gonna buy stuff past that, right? But it's almost like it's like when men lose their hair, you
Yeah.
know? That's also like a peak moment is when they first look in the mirror and they're like, wait a minute, like I think I'm losing my hair, and then they start freaking out.
I
That's
know
like the perfect
exactly.
buying moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly how it is. I
Yeah.
have
So
first-hand experience with that.
yeah, so that's when I imagine they'll go out and buy $500 worth of, hair products.
Yeah,
So, I did a hair loss promotion once too, and um, if anyone's in that market, I'm just telling you, just spam before and after photos. Just literally just as many as you can.
yeah,
That's how you sell that.
yeah. It worked for me, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But Ning, uh, so what do you think that people really should look at? I mean, besides talking to the prospect, and besides reading books on Amazon, do you have other tips so people can actually do this research phase and get really good insights about
My
the audience?
best my best tip is to talk to someone real,
Yeah,
because then you get a real experience and you feel the energy. Like the Amazon comments, that's good, right? The Reddit comments and the whatever, reading stuff written by your target audience, that's good. Talking to someone is a total game changer. And there are some copywriters out there who are introverts. I'm sorry, but you have a disadvantage.
yeah,
You have a massive, massive disadvantage.
they
If
do.
you're extroverted, you're gonna be curious about people. Understand it's all about it's writing, and half of it is understanding people, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So if you can't talk to people, you're gonna have a handicap, right? And if you can't talk to people, you also have a handicap in working with business owners, because business owners like people that they like. They like working with people that they like, right?
of course.
Um, but that's kind of like a side topic. But yeah, talking to your actual like target audience, it is a game changer.
But
Um,
if you could ask just one question to this target audience, what question would it be?
tell me about your pain point. Describe it to me.
The simplest and
Describe it to me.
question. Yeah,
What's going on? Tell me about your problem. That's for most people, you ask them to tell me about your problem, they have they will go on for days. They have endless things to say about their problem.
Well, that's something interesting because in my experience, it was actually the contrary. At least here in Brazil, when I talk to someone, for example, a woman that has she wants to be young again, and then I said, so how do you feel about that? And she says, I just don't like my wrinkles. I want to be young again. It's like
You haven't cracked them open, or maybe you're talking to the wrong person. Some people, they don't want to share as much. If you talk to someone who wants to share, then they're going to share a lot.
Yeah, I don't know if they're shy or I don't know, but of course you need to crack them open, and that's something that I think maybe the audience will have a problem with. Just navigating the questions to actually ask the good questions that will make the people or make the prospect talk, and give the good emotional answers.
We have at Paleohacks, we give gift cards. We give Amazon gift cards for people to come talk to me. So we say, we're doing a questionnaire. We would love to talk to you about your experience using this product or with this health issue. If you come and share your experience, it'll help us, and we'll give you $100 gift card for your troubles. And that is a screening process that automatically it screens for people who want to talk about the thing. So you get people who are more talkative. With women and female problems, especially something as emotionally charged as skin and appearance, with women, it's gonna be harder to crack a person open. Like a woman that has to trust you to start sharing vulnerable things about how she feels about her appearance. That's something that's usually reserved for girl time, right? So you have to infiltrate girl time, So that topic is a little harder, I would say, to crack to get someone to share their most vulnerable, things with you.
Yeah.
My topic isn't as emotionally charged as a female's skin. Mine's health problems in old people. Old people love to share about their health. They can talk for days about their health problems, right? So it's a little bit different, It's like if you're talking to a dude about his dick size, right? Tell me about your dick size problems. They're not going to be. You're not going to get the real good stuff from.
Yeah, they say, I don't have this problem.
Exactly.
I have the contrary. Mine's too big.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So how much time do you think that people should spend research the audience?
I don't have a time limit. I have a how I feel.
Got it.
If I feel I fully understand this person, then I'm good to move on to something else.
All right. Got it. Yeah. And do you have some tips that people should say to themselves, okay, I already have enough? Like when do you think that people should stop besides this feeling? Do you have some criteria? Because people in the audience, they will not have the same feeling that you have.
So you have two bars, right? You have your ammunition box and you have your words in the document.
Yeah.
Right? So when you're going through your research process, you're filling your ammunition box. You have ideas. Ideas. My research document might hit 80 pages or something.
Oh my God.
Of just stuff that I see that I think is interesting. And then when I feel like it's overflowing, when I feel like, oh my God, I have so much stuff I don't know what to write about, that's a good point to start writing. So when you start writing and taking the ammunition box and putting it into words and document, then it starts going like this, your bar, right? You start getting more and more words. And then you take those words and then you have to edit and whatever. But that's the process where I feel like doing more research isn't helping me. It's just making my brain already feels full. Full of ideas for this. So when it feels full, then I need to start writing and transferring all that into words in a document,
All right. So just to see if I understand, when you feel that you can already write maybe 2 or 3 sales letters, then you can actually stop researching because you already have enough material to write all these sales letters, and you just need to write one. So,
are you researching more to procrastinate the writing?
Yeah, that's a good question.
That's a good question, right? That's a good question. Yeah. If you are, then start writing.
Yeah,
right.
Of course.
This is the point where a lot of people are they have some sort of resistance against the writing. And so they're like, let me just do more research, right?
Yeah.
I've had copywriters like that, but like if you notice that within yourself, then it's a problem. You should just start writing, right?
Yeah. Got
You
it.
know, but if you're researching because you don't know something and you want to know that thing to help you write better, then it's a good time to continue researching.
Got it. So after the audience, you said that you research the market, right?
Yeah.
So how do you do that?
I pretend to be the customer.
Mm.
Okay. So, I pretend to be the customer. I type all the keywords into Google, how to lower my blood sugar, well, how to, I pretend I'm whoever I am and I start searching that and I start clicking on things. I start clicking on ads. I start buying things. So I get retargeted. I start putting my name on email lists. I start looking at the upsells. I start acting like my customer. And then
Yeah.
you'll get an influx of everything you need.
But why do you do that? What are you specifically looking for?
Well, then if I see one ad come up over and over again, I know that ad's doing well because they're spending a lot of money on it, right? If
Yeah.
I see one email or one promotion or one VSL come up over and over again, then I know it's doing well. And then, but I also understand the search behavior of my audience, right? I understand if they're searching, what do they see? What are the marketing hooks I see over and over again?
Yeah.
Because usually, whenever you're writing, you want to avoid the reaction in your audience. Oh, I've seen that already. So, to understand that, you have to see what they already see. So,
Got it. So that was actually what I was going to ask you, because if you see an ad running over and over again, that means that when you're writing your promotion, you're going to use that ad in your promotion, maybe because it's
no.
working, or you do
Um,
something completely different because you just
so
want to be unique.
so if I see an ad over and over again, number one, I assume it's doing well, right? Because they're spending a lot of money on it. So it
Yeah.
must be returning money, right? And then number two, I analyze, why is it doing well? Why do I think it's doing well, right? Is it because this angle or that angle or whatever, right? Then that angle, I take that angle and I say, if that angle is doing really well, how do I do that angle but better? How do I double down on that angle and do it a little bit different? That's my process.
What do you mean by double down on the angle? Do you mean like adding more proof to make it more believable, or can you give me an example?
Yeah. So one of my promotions that I wrote 2 or 3 years ago was for a kitchen knife. It's for a kitchen knife, right? Something you chop in
Yeah.
the kitchen. So I had no clue how to sell such a thing,
Yeah, me
right?
neither.
Yeah, exactly. So I went and I looked up all the old infomercials selling kitchen knives, right? And guess what they show over and over again? They show it's a video demonstration.
Demonstration, yeah.
Yes, it's just people chopping things with knives, people chopping hard things with knives, people like a guy tossing a pineapple in the air, slicing it in half. Just demonstrations of how sharp and
Yeah.
how great this knife is at cooking, right? And so I was like, okay, that's the thing that's working. How do I double down on that? And so the angle I came to was I wanted our spokesperson, which was a skinny woman, right? Skinny woman. I wanted her sawing a steel hammer with the kitchen knife.
Whoa.
And the hook in the video was, can a 120-pound woman cut a steel hammer in half with this kitchen knife? And that
Whoa.
was, so that's an example. I take something that works. How do I, what's the most ridiculous thing I can have someone cut with a kitchen knife?
Yeah.
What's the most ridiculous thing I can have? Because these people are doing rocks, aluminum cans, paper, right? Can I go more ridiculous than that?
Got it.
One of my students came up with a tank, like her sitting on a tank and cutting into the middle with a tank, and then chopping a tomato like really thin. And I was like, that's a fucking great idea. That's a great idea, right?
Yeah.
So
But you also added like the skinny woman, right? And that's some sort of an angle too, because it says, hey, even this woman, this very skinny woman can use this knife. That's something more than just like doubling down on the actual angle, because the angle was just to cut stuff. Then you also like you cut heavier stuff, but then you added like this other maybe pattern interruption or curiosity elements.
Good juxtaposition, because
most
of the
John Calton
commercials
stuff,
was a chef. It was like an experienced chef.
Yeah.
But most of our audience don't think of themselves as experienced chefs. They think of themselves as beginner chefs. So I wanted a weak looking woman, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But your thinking was like, I will add something incongruent, or I will just add something that looks like the audience, or maybe both.
I wanted the action first, cutting the hammer, right?
Yeah.
And then there's an objection with that, right? Which is like, oh, they're able to do that because it's not the knife, it's because it's a strong dude doing it.
Got it.
So I already knew that objection was coming. So then I would say, okay, well, let me just defeat that objection right up front and just have our spokesperson was a woman too, was a skinny woman. So I was like, oh, perfect, you know?
Got it. Yeah, this is harder. You need to be a very good copywriter to do that, because you need to think about these things.
You need to be able to predict the objection that's coming, right? That's a key copywriter skill.
Yeah, if we could like just take away two frameworks, would be first double down on what is working, and then try to predict the objections so you can add it to your sales message, because then it will work even better.
Yeah.
And also when I don't know about you, but when I'm doing my market research, I want to look at what's working now, just like you said, but also not what's working now, but what has worked in the past. Because if like someone, I don't know, saw like 5 years of collagen ads, for example, in the skincare niche, and then we try to use that again today, chances are it's not going to work, because they already saw that lots of times. Do you have any specific process to do that? Maybe a place that you go to research or something?
Yeah, so it's good to have a pulse on the current market, right? But if you have a backlog of historical knowledge on hooks that work and hooks that don't work, it's good because the market will shift. And so there are opportunities to bring back a concept that's already been done if the market hasn't seen that for a while. If they haven't seen that for a while, then an old hook would still work, you know, because suddenly it's new again, right? So it's good to have a pulse on the market. And one of the good things about Swipe.co and old newspaper ads is that those are, the writing is a lot tighter in those ads than a lot of internet copy nowadays, because the old newspaper ads are much higher stakes.
Yeah, they had to actually pay for the real estate, right?
You have to pay to print it on 100,000 newspapers. And if it doesn't convert, you're screwed, right?
Yeah.
You're done. You put your publisher out of business, right?
Yeah, so way harder than today.
It's way harder. And so those had to convert. So you can get a lot of good ideas. And they're a good idea in something like as evergreen as health. Health is evergreen. Right. So women will always, from now until eternity, unless they figure out something, they will always have, facial aging and skin issues. That will always be a market. Right. Until women stop having this issue, which is not going to happen anytime soon. That will always be a market. And so in health, it's like that. In finance, it's different. Right. In finance, it's very seasonal. It's like, oh, the market's good. Everyone's hot on crypto. Everyone's hot on weed stocks, right? So it's different for finance, but in health, it's evergreen. So things that worked 20 years ago or 10 years ago, as long as the audience hasn't seen it for a while, I think it's good and safe to bring back an old thing that was a killer, you know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. There are some online swipe files that you can find, these newspaper ads and other, even magalogs, direct mail pieces.
Yeah.
There is one, the one that you said it's swipe.com, right?
Swipe.co, SWIPED.
Swipe.co. Yeah, that's a really good one.
That's owned by my friend Mike Shower. He's a really funny guy.
Awesome. That headline that I just told you, the Atlanta housewife arrested and etc.
Yeah.
That's in that swipe file. Actually,
Yeah.
it will appear on the screen right now. So if you're watching this, you can either click. This is the link that's going to appear, and also the ad.
Great.
And there is also another swipe file called the Ultimate Swipe File or Ad Money Machine. It's by a guy named Lawrence Bernstein. I don't know if you have heard of it. I think it's I mean, it is a paid swipe file. You have to pay to look at it, but it's the most complete swipe file I think on the internet, because Lawrence, he actually his job or passion, I don't know, he just keeps collecting ads, and he keeps updating the ads there, uploading. And yeah, it's another tip too. Do you have other online swipe files that people can search for?
I'm looking almost every week at the Mike Geary email network. So we have meetings every month to go over what the top promotions are.
Yeah.
And I just open, I'm subscribed to that email list. So every day I'm going to read the email being sent, and I might click and watch the first 3-4 minutes of the VSL. So that's kind of what I'm tuned into right now.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. So after the research, after you have the audience, after you have the market, then you can use that to create the product if you don't have a product yet, because you actually know what people want, what kind of mechanism have they seen in the past.
Yeah.
And then you can actually position your offer to make it way more way more, how can I say that?
Aligned to the market, aligned to what people want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And after that, what do you do? Then you start writing, right?
Yeah. So my writing is it's in blocks.
Yeah.
So my whole VSL is broken down into, I don't know, 20 different blocks.
20? Oh my God.
Yeah. So I know the lead, I need to hit him with the hook, and then hit him with open loops, and then what's called the central thesis of your VSL. The central thesis is I would say one line, right? You can think of, some people call it the mechanism, right?
Yeah.
One logic point that you need the person to digest, to absorb, to buy your product, right?
That's really cool, man. Where have you learned that? Because my process is just like that too.
Well, great minds think alike. My process has been just developing over the last 9 years. The central thesis thing isn't mine. That's Ryan Kowalski, and he is another, one of the best VSL writers. That's very quiet, that doesn't, do a whole lot of publicity.
Yeah, I don't know him.
Yeah, so he's behind. Do you know the offer Emma? It's like a gut supplement.
Yeah. They were actually testing Viterb right now. They were using Wistia. They're testing us.
So he's the guy that wrote that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so he came up with that, the central thesis thing, which I think is really brilliant. And
to be honest, I think there's a guy that I don't know if I'm being stupid or something, but I think that the original guy that came up with this was Clayton Makepeace. And he has a book called Quick Start Copywriting System. You're probably familiar with that, right?
Okay.
And yeah, in the chapter 8, it's called the ABC process that makes your copy invincible. And then in this chapter, he outlines how he writes the middle of the copy. And then he says that you need to convince people of only one thing.
Yes.
This thing is what make people to buy. And then you start the argument with something that they already believe or that you can prove without a shadow of doubt. And then you just keep adding logic points to your argument until people are convinced of this belief. When they're convinced of this belief, then you can present the offer. And the belief is usually like this: if you do this specific action, you will get what you want. And the only way to do that is by using this unique mechanism.
Yes.
And at least that's when I first saw it in the first place. But maybe this guy, he got it from, I don't know if he thought about it or if he got it from Clayton and then added his thing and then, started telling people about it. I don't know.
Yeah. Yep, I would agree. I did an avocado oil promotion 2 or 3 years ago, and it did really well.
Yeah,
And the one point I needed to convince people was that if your cooking oil is yellow, it's rancid and giving you all sorts of health problems. It's
yeah,
spoiled and rancid. So because our cooking oil was green,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
yeah, and so I had to convince people that that was the whole point of the entire thing is the cooking oil you're using is rancid. The
yeah.
cooking oil that's sitting in your kitchen is disgusting, is what I wanted to convince. So,
But this thing, you actually need to find that in the research phase, right? Because at the end of the day, your
yeah,
product needs to deliver on this belief,
yeah,
right?
yep,
Otherwise, yeah,
yep, exactly. So once I have the hook, the hook isn't really as important as the central thesis, right?
yeah,
So the central thesis, I'm like, okay, I have that something I feel really good about. I can just leave the hook or the lead empty, write the 90% of the VSL, and then I write 8 different leads. We usually launch with 8 different leads because the lead is so just one page of copy can determine whether the thing's a a, a bomb or just the best promotion of the year, right?
yeah. It's crazy.
So it's crazy to me. Because we've had, one page of copy. It could be 10 lines of copy changes whether it's a complete flop or whether it's the best promotion of the year. We've
Yeah,
we've seen that with testing. So I mean that's still crazy to me. Um,
yeah,
so I'll leave the hook and the lead open the first, 500 words, write the other 90% of the VSL. The hard part is mostly like from 20 from like 10% to 50%. Everything after the product reveal is pretty formulaic. It's the same, right?
yeah,
It's like, you make your USP claim and your benefits, then your proof, then your features, then your guarantee, then your scarcity, then your urgency. It's just like boom, 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 boom. It's like a checklist, right? But from 10% after your hook to 50% to the product reveal, that's like the hardest part to get
yeah,
right. And then the first 10%, that's just all your hooks. That's like how good are your hooks? Did you go out there and look at all the YouTube and think about it and come up with the best hooks? And so, once I have the central mechanism, I just go through and I fill out my sections. It's pretty like modular. It's like this section, then this section, credibility section, then this section, and I just try to do every section as improve upon the old copy as
yeah.
as possible. Yeah.
Have you found differences in testing the actual close of the VSL? Because I know that it usually comes down to just following a checklist. They need to say this and that and everything. But sometimes, I don't know if you tested that, but here in Brazil, people test it a lot. And then they add lots of things into it. They change. For example, the guarantee comes before the price review or after the price review. So
Oh,
they test,
interesting.
they test that kind of stuff.
What'd you
And
guys find?
so crazy enough, man, crazy enough, it has almost the same impact of the lead. So if you never tested the closes,
Interesting.
yeah, I really recommend people test the closing section, because that's when you actually seal the deal, right? There's a
Yeah.
copywriter here in Brazil. His name is Derek. He's a really good copywriter. He wrote that offer on buy goods called Lipozen for weight loss.
Okay.
I think it's the top weight loss offer in the world right now. I think so. I don't know.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and he tested like 5 closes. So just like people test leads here in Brazil, we test leads and we also test closes. And in these two sections of the copy, they make a lot of difference. And actually, even Stefan, he has that thing. It's called
The AOV close.
yeah, AOV close. So we have more frameworks, just like the AOV close, which helps to increase the AOV. There are other frameworks. For example, in the frequent asked questions, the last section of the VSL, people usually say, "Hey, when will my product arrive?" And another question is, how long will it take for seeing results? Then he changes this question to,
Yeah.
if I drop weight too fast, what should I do?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
We
like,
do the same thing. But the frequently asked questions is not frequently asked questions. It's
yeah,
another opportunity to go through the sales argument.
to sell again.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so he does all of these things in the close, and it usually like helps increase conversions, but they tested a lot, so. Opa, desculpa interromper aqui o teu podcast, tá? Eu só queria te dar uma mensagem aqui super rápida. Cara, se tu tem um vídeo de vendas, então tu precisa hospedar esse vídeo aqui no VTurb. O VTurb é não só a melhor hospedagem de vídeo de vendas do Brasil, mas também do mundo inteiro, e ele vai, sem dúvida alguma, aumentar a tua conversão. Então tem o link, tá? Aqui embaixo nos comentários aqui, e aí tu pode ir ali, clicar ali e já criar tua conta do VTurb. Tu vai receber daí um treinamento pra tu fazer isso, e tu vai poder aumentar a conversão do teu vídeo de vendas ainda hoje, tá, pessoal? Então, cara, clica aqui embaixo, faça tua conta no VTurb e te espero lá. Valeu e bom podcast. But okay, so the first thing that you write, from what I understand from your process, is this is the mechanism part, right? Where you present your central thesis.
Yeah.
And do you have any framework to do that? How do you actually like structure everything? Do you have like some, I don't know, number of proof elements that you usually use? Maybe, I don't know, one claim, 3 proof elements, then another claim, another proof element.
That's just different with every. It's different with every promotion.
Yeah.
If I have a really powerful proof element, I will base the promotion around that. If I don't, then I have to go about it a different way. We have been the last promo that I wrote that did really well. It hit one of the top spots in the Geary network, and we're going to be launching it on paid right after the new year. That promo, I didn't make any direct claims in. So it was I'm starting to like break the rules of classic copy, which is like, it's always like big, bold claim, right?
Yeah.
Well, in the US, compliance is getting to a point where if you make big, bold claims, it's harder to get it to work on paid traffic and other areas. So, this past year, we're kind of innovating in our little ecosystem on how to get VSLs to convert without making direct claims. And we've cracked the code because we've had a VSL do really well without direct claims. So, it's an ever changing and evolving thing.
Yeah.
And so it's my process for the middle section. I can't give you a concrete answer because it's different with every promotion.
Got it.
Yeah.
What I usually do is I just present what people have to do. For example, after the credibility section, I said, hey, so what I find out is that the secret to decreasing your blood sugar or whatever is to do X, like to fight to remove this thing from your body, or to use this, or to do something. Then I usually like write 3 or 4 proof elements over there, usually different ones, like a scientific discovery, maybe a demonstration.
Yeah.
And after I say, so that's why you did not get results in the past, because you were not like doing that specific action. Usually in health offers is to solve like the root cause of the problem, right? When we are like writing financial offers, there's usually not a root cause. So what they have to do is like to grab an opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So then I say that's why that's why you make a lot of money right now, because that's the first time this opportunity is happening, whatever. Yeah. And then after this section, then I have the other section, which is like the mechanism of the solution, let's say. When I say how to actually do that thing that I just say that he needs to do. And then I say, okay, so to do this thing, what you need to do is this. Here's proof element 1, 2, 3. Then if the proof elements are okay, I assume that people will believe the thesis. Then I'm ready to transition to the offer. So it's some sort of template that I use. So here's what you need to do, 3 proof elements, why it didn't work in the past. Then how to do it, 3 proof elements. It's not, that's why I told you that I'm not the best copywriter in the world. I'm actually an engineer. So I really like, systems and everything. So but it works. I mean, I always do that.
That sounds like the same sort of like template I would use. Like that sounds very similar to my process. If I make a statement, right? One powerful statement. In health, it's usually you have this problem because this specific thing about your body is broken in some way. Your liver is clogged, or your kidneys are yellow, or this is, that one thing, that's the central thesis, right? Your blood sugar is high because your blood is too hot. Whatever the one like thing about your body is wrong, right? That would be the mechanism of the problem. And you're talking about following up with your proof elements. I do the same thing, and it really just depends on like I have one if it's one module and I'm like, okay, what's the proof point I want to get across? What's the logic point I want to get across in this one section, right? And then how believable is this? If it's not believable, if I'm moving them past a belief barrier, then I need proof. So then I need to drop proof. And then how strong is my proof? If they get through my statement and the proof, is it undeniable? Can they argue with me at all?
Yeah.
Right? Or is it just they have to accept this proof point, right? If they have to accept this proof point, I'm like, okay, I don't need any more proof. Let's move on to the next logic point.
Yeah.
So that's
Awesome.
kind of how my brain thinks. It sounds very similar to your process,
Yeah.
which is very like it's systems oriented. Yeah.
Yeah. For sure, 100%. And I find it really interesting that you use this term, the logic point. Where have you heard this term, man? Logic point. It was from you don't know, because that's crazy. I thought that I had created that. I have a copywriting course here in Brazil,
Uh-huh.
and I use exactly this term. I say here you need to build your logic points. And
Yeah, it's
I
a logic
thought,
skeleton.
yeah, that's really interesting, really cool.
Yeah, so my mentor, he told me logic is the skeleton, emotion is the blood and guts. So I think of the VSL as a logic skeletons, logic point to logic point to logic point to logic point, all the way down to
Yeah,
close. Yeah.
yeah. So after you write like this argument, this section, then you actually I don't know you, but I create a close, the product reveal, the transition, everything very formulaic. You just follow some steps, and then there are only two sections lacking, right? The credibility section where you tell your story and everything, and then the lead where you actually sell people into watching the VSL. So the credibility section, do you think there are some important things over there? Because to me, it's very formulaic too, but I don't know if there's something that you try to add there to
Yeah.
make it better.
When we started doing health supplements, I told my boss I wanted a doctor. I wanted a white old guy in a white lab coat with a stethoscope. And you know, get me a doctor. Get me a doctor that I can put on the screen, because I think that makes a difference. I think people want to hear from someone with credibility. And that's part of the reason why Golden Hippo, I think, does so well, because they have such a good doctor and a charismatic doctor appearing on video. Stephen Gundry, and
Yeah.
they're really big in the States.
No, I know him, of course. I know Craig. I'm going to interview Craig too here in the podcast.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it all depends on what's in your ammunition box, right? If you have a great doctor, then I'm going to deploy that. I'm going to try to leverage that as much as possible. If I don't have that, then I'm going to see what else I have, right?
Yeah.
So there's some promotions where I don't have a great credibility person, right? So I have to rely on something else like video demonstration or whatever, if the guru's not as important. And if I don't have that, then the guru is important. I'm trying to just get whatever assets I can, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, for example, the thyroid letter, we don't have a doctor there, the thyroid supplement. But one of the common experiences in women with thyroid problems is that their doctor tells them their thyroid levels are normal, but then they don't feel well. So there's a bit of a like making the doctor the enemy
Yeah.
in the VSL, and we have a female nutritionist instead as the credibility
Spokesperson.
person. Yes.
Yeah,
So,
got it.
yeah. So did I answer the question? I don't even remember what the question was.
Yeah, no, of course. I asked about the importance of the credibility section. Here in Brazil, people used to run offers here and they made a lot of money. Actually, that's what I did. That's how I made my living for the first 7 years of my career. But in the past year, lots of Brazilians are starting their companies in the United States. And yeah, they're doing that because the currency, the dollar, is way stronger than the Brazilian real, which is our currency.
Okay, yeah.
And they are making a lot of money. Some people are selling like 200,000 per day, $100,000 per day, and these are like some crazy numbers in Brazil. Like it's almost unbelievable, and
Yeah.
it's crazy. Yeah, like it's so much money when it comes to Brazilian standards.
Okay.
They are getting like filthy rich.
Okay.
And
Great.
yeah, to me it's good too because they're my clients. So at the end of the day, they end up paying me too. But the ones that are really making money are the payment processing companies. But whatever. But
Everybody's making a lot of money. There's the payment process is making a lot of money. We make the suppliers, the people like ship offers or whoever's
ship offers,
creating our supplements, they make a ton of money. Maripost makes a ton of money out, the email.
Yeah.
Everybody's making money off this thing.
Yeah. But what they do is that they're not good at copywriting. They don't know a lot about copywriting, but they know a lot about operations. So what they do is that they see what kind of copy is working in the United States. Then they create some sort of mediocre copy, a copy that is, more or less not bad, but not stellar also. And then they spend like $30,000 in the production of the VSL. So they hire like 7 people, they hire a big studio, and then create like almost this movie, this documentary.
Yeah.
And I think that's the advantage of the Brazilians that are running offers in the United States, is just increasing the production level and making the VSL look like a movie, a documentary, that kind of stuff.
Everybody has like a little secret weapon.
Yeah.
Like high production value is a great weapon to use. Golden Hippo, one thing that most people don't know is one of their secret weapons is they own the vertical. So they don't use ship offers or whatever. They own the manufacturing, so their cost of goods are way cheaper. So, there's a lot of ways to play the game with little advantages or even big advantages that people don't see.
Yeah, that's a nice mode, yeah.
Yeah.
But this thing, it's amazing because the difference in conversions sometimes is like 100%, 150%, just by increasing the production level. So if you have a copy that is working, is selling, one of the easiest levers that you can pull to increase your revenue, your sales, your conversions is just to increase the production value. And it's not that hard, you just pay, you get people in the studio, you create the VSL. It takes maybe 1 day, and then that's it. Then you can run your VSL. So yeah, I just wanted to give this tip because we're talking about this.
Yeah, great.
But after the story, then you write the lead, right?
Yeah, I write 8 different leads. Usually the one that crushes is not the one I'd predict.
Yeah, it's always like that, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I'm like so certain. I'm like, oh man, this one's gonna crush. And then for the last couple times, that one flopped, and another one I didn't expect just absolutely crushed. So I think of it as like 8 different swings. And I try to make the 90% of the VSL as good as I can, and then the 8 swings are just 8 different tries, and it just feels dangerous to me to go down to 4 because you could literally have all it takes is one lead out of 8 to do really, really well, to have just an enormous promotion. And if you test 4, what if you miss that one? Like if you miss that one, you spent $30K on a copywriter, then you spent $30K on a video guy, and then you spent all this time and effort to create a VSL, and then it flops.
Yeah.
Right. And I just want like a little bit more like insurance is kind of like my feel. So if I could do 12 and they could test 12 and like, then I would do 12.
You'll do it, yeah.
Yeah, but they only have certain so many slots in email to test, and then 12 puts more pressure on the video guy to create 4 more videos. So it's a balance of like, what I want to do in the operations.
Got it. But how do you find these angles, man? Because I don't know about you, but I think that the lead is usually Like it comes from the mechanism, because the lead is just like a trailer or just a preview of the VSL, right? So you just say, hey, in this video you're going to see this. So there is just enough ways that you can talk about the mechanism. Or do you have like completely indirect leads that you can talk about something else and then transition to
I
the
would.
actual mechanism?
I don't think of the leads like the leads or the hooks in the opening totally separate from the mechanism.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I
Can
don't
you
think of them
elaborate on that?
together. Yeah, so one of the promo that is doing really well right now is for an omega-3 product, and the central thesis is that there's a missing omega. Most people think omega-3s, they think um, EPA and DHA, which are the two omega-3s, but they discovered a third omega that's 8 times more powerful. The science says it's 8 times more powerful. And it's actually the ones that's responsible for all the health benefits that they thought the two traditional ones gave,
Yeah,
right? So there's a missing omega, right? That's only one open loop in the lead. The lead that we have is about cold feet. If you have cold feet, it's a sign that your heart is starving for oxygen or something. So it's like if you have X symptom, then it's a sign that X part of your body is broken,
got it.
right?
Then
So
later you
that's the lead
say,
that won.
then later you say, this part of your body is broken because you don't have like this omega
Yeah.
3, this new omega 3. Ah, got it.
Well, we say, like it goes into heart problems, right? Is heart stuff so widespread? It kills more people than cancer, suicide, car accidents combined. I show a big graph that shows like how, so if you have blank, 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 symptom identifier, then I'm going to tell you the number one thing you can do. I'm a heart doctor that used to work for NASA. That's a spokesperson.
Yeah,
Um, I'm gonna tell you, my number one tip for a healthy heart, and the number one food item you should be eating, or something, something like that. And it's not fish. So, I drop some open loops, and then I go into education about like, I point at a clotting factor. I call it clotting factor 7. So it's not because your heart attacks and blood clots and whatever, they don't happen because of cholesterol or this or the stuff that you think, eating too much red meat or sugars, sodium or whatever it is. It's because of this new thing that you never heard about.
got it.
Proof. Okay, how do you get rid of this? Right. Well, there's one thing that powers your natural artery flushing system. Then I transition to omega.
Got
Your
it.
doctor's probably told you to take omega-3s all this time. Then why isn't your heart healthy? Oh, well, it's because he didn't know, you know, the omega that you actually need is this missing omega that most people don't get. You don't get this from your normal fish oil pill. You don't get it from krill oil. You can
Yeah.
only get it from me.
Yeah. So in this example, we have like two kinds of leads. We have this symptom lead, let's say, if you have this thing,
Yeah.
and
So symptom stuff is I have found to be way more important in health than I used to think. So we do a lot of symptom stuff, especially specific and visual symptom stuff. Do your eyebrows look like this? Show a picture. It means your thyroid's low.
Mm,
Yeah, so like we do a lot of symptom stuff because I think that's what, you know. So if I can't make strong claims, I like symptom identifiers. If you're something specific, if you have cold feet, if your eyebrows look like this, if you have dry skin on your fingers, or if you have something specific, it doesn't matter,
yeah,
whatever it is,
yeah,
then it means blank, something inside you is broken, I make a statement, and or I do a command, right? If you have a low thyroid, right, symptom identifier, the number one food you should be eating is blank, or you should avoid salads or kale at all costs, right? So it's either a statement about something inside you that's broken, or it's a command.
yeah.
Stop brushing your teeth like this, or whatever it is. Usually, a lot of my hooks have been in that format the past like 6 months.
Got it. That's awesome. And do you have like other kinds of go-to hooks that you usually use? Because
For
for the
health or
yeah for your VSLs for your health VSLs, yeah, because you said that you usually test 8 leads, right? So
yeah.
I bet some of
So
them are like some leads that you always use, like the symptoms one, and there are other some like new leads that you discover in your research phase, right?
yeah, so in the research phase, I build up the ammunition box, right? And I have 4 or 5 different angles that I'm like I see over and over again, right?
Yeah,
And so I'll just each of those angles I'll be like, okay, this is a symptom one. I'll do 2 symptom ones,
yeah,
right? And then another one might be different. It might be a testimonial lead or like a proof element lead. Then I'll do another lead like that. And so I'll go through my 4 or 5 different hook ideas or categories and I'll just fill them out with,
got it. One kind of
yeah.
lead that people use a lot here in Brazil, I call it the, I don't know, maybe discover lead or something, where we say that there was this new discovery that people find out the root cause of X. And then if you watch the video, you'll find out
Yep.
about it.
Yeah. So
So,
I might do like, 2 of those.
yeah.
So it's yeah. So then I just try to fill out 8. So eight good swings. Yeah.
Do you think that it's better to have like completely different angles or maybe one angle that you will write in lots of ways? Don't know if you
It
understood the question.
depends. It depends on how confident I am about the category, right? So for example, the knives, literally all the angles I saw were video demonstration. So I would, if I were to test 8 leads for that again, 6 of them would probably be video demonstration. And then 2, I could maybe try something out of left field. But I'll very rarely try something that that is like out of left field. That's just like purely creative, you know?
Yeah.
Almost every lead is like, I saw that and I think that's working really well. Let me do 2 variations of that. 2 variations where I double down on that. So that's kind of that's my process there.
Yeah, got it. Ning, thank you so much for talking about your process. And
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna finish the podcast.
Okay,
So what
great.
do you think about it? Did you like it?
Yeah, it was wonderful.
It was fun.
It's fun to chat about, copywriting with other copywriters and because it's like a little bubble. And
Yeah, yeah.
when I was in Copy Accelerator and more connected to the industry, it was fun to chat with a lot of people and just kind of meet like-minded people. In the past year or so, I've been much more like in my own bubble, just in the Paleohacks, the health industry sphere, and just kind of heads down doing my own thing. So
Yeah.
it's been nice to kind of step outside and just chat about copy. Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing. And one thing that I found really interesting is that you said, right, that you don't have nothing to sell. And usually when people come here in the Victor podcast, they usually have some sort of mentorship or something. So yeah, so thank you so much for just coming here and giving content, providing value to the audience. That's amazing.
Yeah. If this was a year ago, I would say go join my email list, but I've retired from coaching
Yeah.
because I'm making too much money from just writing copy.
Yeah, that's awesome. That proves that you are a real copywriter, right? But
Sure.
also, if you don't mind, okay, could you please just tell people how they can get to your email list or can get more information about you? Because maybe right now you're not selling anything, but maybe in the future you will, and then you will still have this audience, right? That you will
Sure.
maybe be able to send message or provide value to them.
Um, if you are a copywriter looking for tips on copywriting stuff, do not email me. I will not respond. I get too many of those. So
Yeah,
I have retired from copy coaching, so I cannot, and I'm sorry. And I I have not given, my best secrets in this podcast because I still want to keep my
to use them.
competitive advantage, right?
Yeah,
So I've given tips that hopefully will help, but my best secrets I've all just kept just for me and Paleohacks. If you are a business owner who wants to work with me, you can send me an email at ning@wordsfordollars.com. I will very likely not be able to work with you because I'm full time with Paleohacks and they pay me an absurd amount of money. So yeah, I'm doing this purely out of like, if you have something interesting to share with me, make sure that subject line looks cool, and then maybe I'll open and read it.
Use the content to create good copy so you can get Ning's attention.
Yeah, and maybe I'll see you at a future conference or something and just chat. Yeah, so ning@wordsfordollars.com is
Okay.
spelled out WRDSFORDOLLARS, wordsfordollars.com.
It will
That's my
appear on the
email
screen.
address. Yep. And if you want to email me about something, please make it interesting. If it's like, please, please, please help me, then I will not respond. I'm sorry. I cannot help you unless you help yourself.
Yeah, of course. And
Yeah.
Ning, for the last thing that I want to do here at the podcast, I just wanted to give you the word, man, the mic, so you could just say whatever you want, send a message to the audience. You can, I don't know, give some advice or tell them to do something.
Is the audience mostly copywriters or business owners or direct response marketers, or just a mixture of?
It's a mixture of everything. Yeah, there are people that are doing product launches using like the Jeff Walker formula, people that are selling high ticket coaching programs, and a little bit of everything.
Yeah, so that's great. Copywriting, I'm very grateful for copywriting because it's changed my life. I don't work more than 2 to 3 hours a day. I have a newborn son, and so copywriting has allowed me to just make a lot of money doing a little bit of work with just one skill. My whole life is scaled off of one skill. That's crazy,
It's crazy.
And
Yeah.
9 years ago, I wouldn't have thought that was possible. And so, if I had one message out there to people listening, it's that if you want to make a lot of money and if you want to scale to play this entrepreneur game or marketing game, it's 100% possible, right? When I started out, I didn't know whether it was real or not. I didn't know whether it was a fairy tale, and like it was just people on my screen saying things. I didn't know whether it was real or not. But when the money first hit my bank account, I was like, okay, I guess this is somewhat real, even though it's just it's someone I've never met sending me money, right?
Yeah.
So I want to let you know that it's 100% real and that you can do it. It's just one step at a time, but it all comes down to how much action you take. So you have to balance with how much knowledge you absorb. So a lot of people like reading books or whatever, but the real barometer of how far you go is how much action you take. It's not how much knowledge you consume, right? So one pound of action is worth 10 pounds of knowledge consumption, right? So doing stuff, especially stuff that you have resistance against doing. Like if you do that, then you'll go far, right? In all my years of coaching, copywriters and business owners, I've noticed a pattern that like the people that I can usually predict within a minute or two of talking to them how far they're going to go, right? And believe it or not, most of the people that go very far are ex-sports athletes, okay, because they understand that action equals output, right? So how much action you take equals how much you progress.
Yeah.
So I would say the same thing kind of transfers in copywriting, and it's like pursue your dreams, and they're 100% possible. You just keep putting one foot in front of the other. When I started, everybody told me it was a bad idea. I should stick with graduate school. I should stick with blah, blah, blah. But, those people aren't me, and they're not living my life, right?
Yeah.
So this is your life, right? If you have a dream, absolutely go after it. That's what you're here on earth to do. If you don't do that, you're going to look back when you're 80 years old and you'll be like, why the fuck didn't I do that? So, go after what you want, guys. That's my message.
That's a great message, man. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
So this was another video podcast and thanks for listening. Cara, muito obrigado aí por ter assistido aqui mais um episódio de Segredos da Escala. Se tu gostou do episódio, não se esquece, tá? De curtir aqui esse episódio, de se inscrever no canal do VTurb pra tu receber aí mais episódios aí na tua caixa de entrada. Isso é muito importante pra gente e se tu fizer isso, eu te garanto, tá? Que eu vou trazer os melhores convidados aqui pra passar conteúdo pra ti, beleza? E se tu tá procurando aí mais episódios aí pra assistir, cara, eu vou deixar 2 episódios aqui, tá? Em algum lugar aqui da tela aqui, dos Segredos da Escala pra tu ver. Então clica ali, vê eles, tá? Assiste também, vale a pena. Grande abraço e até mais.